Welcome to Enjoy Fort Wayne. This episode is brought to you by the YLNI Farmers Market and highlights the 350 vendors that make up the #1 market in the state of Indiana.
Hey, I'm Meredith.
And I'm Kalen, and we are Merkat, Herbals, and Earthworks.
All right, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
I was excited to talk to you because I know you guys now for a little bit and through like the winter market even and stuff, and didn't know your story too much. And so I was excited to kind of find out a lot of things, how you two met, how you got started, and the different challenges and things like that. So first of all, let me ask, are you two from Fort Wayne originally?
I am.
Okay.
I'm originally from Michigan, but this is kind of home for now, you know.
Yeah. How long have you been in Indiana?
Which time?
Oh, well then tell me. All right.
So
well,
I first moved here in 2009.
Okay.
Kind of ties into your other question. We met, we were in youth group together. But we stayed friends, but went kind of our own separate ways, did our own little things. We have been to Florida, Georgia, and South Bend, and then back here.
When you say you've been, like you've lived?
We lived.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So how long have the two of you now been back together living in Fort Wayne area?
Almost 6 years.
Okay, so it's been
Yeah.
a while now.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've known each other, though, for quite a while, but then you got reconnected. How?
Actually in Florida, which is kind of crazy the way it happened.
Okay.
She went to take care of her aunt that had ovarian cancer. And then I actually had moved there with my ex, and we reconnected in Florida, spent a lot of time together, dated, ended up getting married.
Just a crazy coincidence, though.
Yeah.
Right?
Wild.
It's kind of nuts the way that it happened.
We've known each other for like 20 years.
But there was a gap.
Yeah.
Where
there
like,
was a gap of like seeing each other every day, but we stayed friends. Like we texted, we talked. Like there wasn't like every day in each other's lives, I guess, but she's been kind of consistent.
That's pretty cool, though.
We've been married for 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is, wow.
It's crazy.
I don't know what to say. That is
It's
not
crazy.
something you hear every day where, like, you randomly move to take care of a family member. You just happen to be there. I mean, that's not a thing. Doesn't just
not
like,
usually, no.
you know, so very cool. Okay, and you said you've been married for 8 years.
Yep.
Okay, cool. That is very cool.
Coming up on 9 in January.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oof.
When my birthday is, we'll just
Okay.
have a big powwow.
My birthday's in January too.
January what?
25th.
30th.
What?
We
we'll
have to have a combo birthday party now.
We'll have a powwow
Yeah.
on the bus.
Yeah, on the bus. Because of the winter market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Winter market
That's
birthday
crazy.
powwow.
And we can do the limo. You know that I have that now.
Oh,
That's a thing.
that's cool.
So we'll figure something out. We'll talk. So
Yeah.
we'll keep everyone posted. Those of you listening, we'll keep you posted on what we're doing. Maybe we'll invite you out to Chevy's and we'll karaoke or something or
Yeah,
whatever.
The Aquarius is
Whatever.
times 2.
Right.
All right.
Sorry, you're left out. I guess
It's fine.
apparently.
It's fine.
All right. Okay, so take me through the time where each of you had not thought about having a business and you were doing just regular, quote unquote, normal people things, jobs, things like that. What were you doing before this?
So I guess it's kind of always been like more of a natural lifestyle. I have a lot of chemical allergies and things like that, so there's always been not really a lot of normal. But I guess before this started, it was kind of born out of necessity. I was working for Starbucks. I ended up being diagnosed with a brain tumor in Florida. And a lot of the medical professionals that they had sent me to, I had been to doctor after doctor after doctor. I had been misdiagnosed 3 times. different medications. Everything made me really, really sick. So that was kind of the necessity, was, okay, I'm done. I'm going to find a better way because this is not working.
Yeah.
And that's when we really started, about 8.5 years ago, really diving deep into natural remedies and things that could potentially make our lifestyle better, but also different alternative therapies to help manage symptoms instead of petroleum-based medications.
So, like you said, this was more out of necessity then.
Yeah.
But did you assume that you would have your own company and be able to make money
No.
from it and like that kind of thing?
No. It started out of making things for ourselves and our families, especially when we found a lot of the things that we had been studying were working.
So you would research, like, I wonder if this and this would happen. Then
Yeah.
you would go and make it.
And do it
And
and
then,
take it.
hey,
Yeah.
family member, try it.
Yeah.
And it would work for them.
A
Yeah.
lot of trial and error, a lot of, I don't know, especially that generation kind of in the middle of like our parents and our grandparents. Just kind of like, oh, well, why would you make a tincture when you have a headache instead of just taking a Tylenol? It's so much easier. But normal people don't
But you can't
have,
you can't
Right.
do the Tylenol, right?
normal people don't have the reactions to the medications that I do.
Right, like, I don't know what that's like. I do just
So-
take Tylenol or whatever.
Yeah. So having to kind of navigate that and navigate the allergies and the adverse reactions to things, like most people take a Benadryl and it knocks them out for hours, right? I take a Benadryl and I look like I did some illicit substances. Like, I'm all over the place. So just kind of that process of trial and error. Never did I think it was going to be a business. Never did I think it was going to be a successful business, especially. It was more of, oh, like my granny used to teach me about, you go out in the yard and pick some plantain and rub it on your bee sting. And then it got more in depth of, wow, people are actually doing this. And there are these people that are called naturopathic physicians, and they are doing the same things that regular doctors are doing, except with natural modalities. So, I don't know, just kind of navigating the whole thing was a little crazy too.
Now, what were you just kind of like, well, okay, I'm going to support and I'll do whatever? Or was this kind of your idea as well, as far as, well, what if we did this and this? Or what does that look like?
Well, I mean, I did landscaping for 15 years before all this.
Okay.
So, like, Kalen understands the synthetic properties of things, or synergy, energy of how they all work together. I know how to grow them, and I know what they are. So, like, walking down the street, I can identify plants. That's my...
We call ourselves the Planty Power Couple.
Yeah.
Because
I'm the plant whisperer, so you're calling me to go, hey, what's wrong with my yard? Why is it brown?
Oh.
Or like, what happened to my begonia? It was fine, and now it's dying. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Mirror, what's this bug? Why is it on my plant?
Right. Okay. Gotcha. So, yeah, after 15 years, you see kind of everything. And
Everything.
You're just familiar. Okay. So, take me through that day where you did realize, like, this could be a thing. What happened? What were the first thoughts? Were you nervous?
Always nervous. But some people know, some people don't know. I used to manage a local apothecary that was in Fort Wayne. And for almost a year, I was the point of contact. The owner and clinical herbalist that opened the store, they had actually moved to the UP up in Michigan, and I was running the store. I was doing, making all of the things, being the point of contact for the people. And there was a day, in June. I think it was,
It was in May.
I think it was the end of May, beginning of June, 2 years ago, year before last.
Yeah.
the family had decided that they were going to close the location here in Fort Wayne. And that I took it really hard. I was going to try to, pick up the torch and carry it on myself in the same location. And financially, it just wasn't in the cards.
Sure.
It takes a lot of money to start up a business like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. In order to stay in that location, I would have had to get an actual business loan. And I mean, we've been working on our credit for a few years anyway, just because of medical bills and everything else. That it wasn't in the cards. So that was when the decision had to be made. Like, look, I've been doing this for a year for someone else. I have been making the things. I have been, studying under this person. I have been doing all of the legwork, essentially, working with the community and building those connections already face to face. So do I start applying for jobs, or do I say, okay, I had a business at this point in time, but I wasn't making a lot of the things that I do now for sale, just because you have to be in a commercial kitchen. You have to have certain licensing and permits.
Just so much stuff.
Yes.
I mean,
and I could do it under hers because I was in that environment.
right.
But once being on my own, like, I had to go do all of those things for my own business. So I actually decided that, especially with all of the health stuff that I've had to deal with,
Yeah.
that going back to the real world, quote unquote, I guess, was not really what was ideal for me. So I actually was talking with Sam from True Kimchi, which is actually in the same location of the place where I was originally, which is kind of cool. And she's like, hey, have you heard about Kiva? And I got on Kiva. Apparently it's this, it's a crowdfunded nonprofit organization where they let you crowdfund your own business loan with, like, no credit check or no, like, intense bank paperwork or any of that. So we actually applied, and our community raised the money and put up the money for us to get all of our licensing, to get certified in the commercial kitchen. It's another really crazy situation, right? But because of those connections that I had built over the past year and a half, people were there and they were like, hey, you're making a huge difference. Let us help you. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's been really cool.
So that's been insane. The best part about this program is that as you pay your loan payments back, every single person that donated to you gets their money back.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
So
They keep track.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing. Like,
That's
you pay your
wild.
payments every month, and every month they get a portion until it's all paid back to them. So they make back every single penny that they ever donated to you, which is really cool. Super cool company. It's all online. But had I not talked with another business owner that
Right.
was making big moves, that started at our market, nonetheless, we would have never had that opportunity or opened that door,
That is.
It's very divinely led. The
Yeah.
entire thing is very just, like,
You
don't
can't explain it.
you can't.
Yeah, it's a
Right.
great community.
That
It
truly
takes a lot.
is. Yeah, that truly is amazing. And it's a sense of, even just hearing you kind of talk about it, I feel the sense of gratefulness that you have. Like, every day has to be such
Yeah.
a grateful, like, an opportunity to be grateful when you
Yes.
are able to do this. So then tell me about how you then became a vendor for the YLNI Farmers Market.
Actually, that's a pretty easy story. So, I was trying to convince the previous apothecary owner that we needed to get back into the farmers market, and that I was willing to do it, to be
Why?
the person to go.
Why did you?
Well, I
feel
actually
that?
took Kalen for the first time on her birthday weekend, and
Which is not in January.
No, it's in May.
It's in May.
I'm a Gemini, if you couldn't tell.
She's
I'm all
never
over the
been.
place.
I was there for the original market that was on bar.
Oh, okay.
The
So
original little market.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
only like 10, 15 vendors,
Yes.
whatever, in the
Before
little
it grew.
courtyard, area.
The little courtyard, and that was it.
No roads were
Yeah.
closed down.
Road. Yeah, the
Yeah.
little market.
I wasn't even around for that. I mean,
Yeah.
I was in Fort Wayne, but I didn't go or know about it.
Yeah, my
but-
stepdad used to take me like every week. We would go down there and get
So
fresh
you
veggies.
knew the deal.
Yeah, I knew
But-
the deal. Kalen had no idea.
So I get there.
You're like, let's go.
And
yeah,
I'm like,
let's go for your weekend. Let's go check it out.
But
Let's
just
see
go
what
to
it's
the
all
market,
about.
not like let's
oh no, we
sell-
went just to shop.
Yeah.
We
We
yeah,
went just to shop, like
Yeah.
just to hang out, do something for my birthday, grab some brunch, you know.
Yeah.
But I see it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we have to do this. Like, and she's like, oh well, you know, it's a fun thing, but like it's a lot of work, and if you're gonna be there, then we have to train somebody to run the store, and you know all of the little ins and outs of that. So when she had decided to close the store, her market position was already paid for, already there, and she actually gifted me the spot for my business because I had just lost my job. I didn't know what I was going to do next. And as my friend, she was like, you know, I think you should do it with your business. So that's how we got started. The spot was already paid for. She's like, you know, there are no refunds. Someone should
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
and experience it. And it was your
Oh,
idea
wow.
anyway.
And that
so that was gifted to me as well to
She's
start.
not going to give it to someone else.
And
at that point.
that was last summer. Was our very first market as a vendor experience. Absolutely phenomenal. Like,
Yeah, and then we actually, because they were only supposed to do like every other weekend, me
Oh,
and
yeah.
Kalen decided that we were going to do it every weekend.
yeah.
And the itch just kind of happened, and then we
And
didn't
you're-
really know what we were doing at first, and then we kind of just, a
Figure
lot
it
of
out.
blood, sweat, and tears.
Oh, yeah. A lot of just rolling with it, like going with the flow. Like,
What's something that tell me a story. I'm sure one can come top of mind, but give me a story where you were like, we thought it was going to go like this, and it went way a different direction that we weren't prepared for, but here we are still standing.
I would think it's this year. I think watching things kind of shift a little bit, and then people are just trying to figure out life.
yeah, this year's definitely been a little bit different. Like, we had our first year, summer and winter market were absolutely just like out of the ballpark. Amazing. The vendors, the customers, everything. But this season has been a little different. I think part of it has to do with the economy, obviously. But people are really kind of,
We're mindful about what they want to spend their money on
yes.
and how they want to spend their money.
But in that same aspect, I feel like our market specifically has a clientele that is out of this world. Like, we're going to band together and we're going to support these local makers because that's how we change the world. And our clientele is just phenomenal. Like, there are people that will come back every single week and they'll be like, oh, well, I can't afford to buy anything this week, but I just wanted to say hi, touch base, see how you were doing. Like, you took time on your Saturday when you could have been doing anything else to just come and say hi.
Yeah.
Like, I love that.
Right.
I love that connection. I love that there's that kind of like conglomerate of what we have built as a city here.
Which I was going to ask you about the market. What is one of your favorite things about the market?
Well, that's probably my favorite. Like, I do love the clientele, the customer base. But even the vendors, like, there are a lot of times that I'm like, oh, hey, I gotta run to the restroom, or I gotta grab some food,
Watch
or
the booth or something?
yeah, they'll watch your table for you. They will, like, if someone next to you sees that you've got a whole line and you're like struggling and they're not having the same thing, like, people will jump over and help you. I actually had an experience at the winter market last year that was the scariest thing that's ever happened to me in my life. I went into anaphylaxis during a winter market and I ended up having to call an ambulance. But it started as I thought I was having an asthma attack. And so I grabbed my portable breathing machine and my medicine and all the things like you do when you have asthma. And I don't really know why I thought I was going to find an outlet on a 100-year-old factory outside. But I went outside. And there's a vendor. I can't ever remember her name, but she's from Shop 260. Actually opened her car and let me plug my machine into her cigarette lighter so that I could sit there and do my breathing treatment. It ended up not helping in the long run. Still had to call an ambulance. But
which is how people spring.
I think
into
it's
action.
the community.
But
Yeah,
the volunteers,
The sense of community.
the volunteers, the security guards, they were on it. They were like, "Let me call you an ambulance. Let me get you what you need. Like, how can I help?"
Yeah.
But everybody walking by me was like, "Hey, how do I help? Are you okay?" Hey, and I can't breathe, obviously, so I couldn't tell them anything.
Yeah.
But the amount of people that tried to stop and help in that situation was overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like, it's like nothing else that I've experienced here in Fort Wayne.
It's family.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's no way to prove it than when something like that happens and then everyone steps in like, oh, I guess that was family. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, no, that's so cool. Let's talk about Fort Wayne a little bit. As you've been here now enough years, what would you say is something that you're so excited about as you see maybe a shift in Fort Wayne, not just like the market, but kind of as a whole? Is there something that sticks out that you're like, man, I'm glad I live around Fort Wayne because this is happening, or, you know, that kind of thing?
Yeah. I feel like the shift of supporting local over especially like food, instead of buying your produce and your meats and your breads and things at the grocery store, the amount of people that come every single week to just purchase their basic needs. Like, I have yet to see a weekend where the bread guy doesn't sell out. Okay.
Right.
Like,
Right.
we are next to him.
Talk about that.
And it's like noon. Like, we still got an hour left to go. And
he's out
his
walking
tables are
around.
empty,
Yeah.
and he's walking around. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you didn't bring enough bread? And he's like, no matter how much I bring.
Right.
Yeah,
He's like, I
just
physically
happens.
can't make or bring anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I talked to him about it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah,
I think
so you
from-
will.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, it's the fact that we have such a great park community.
Yeah.
Like the sense of being outside,
Mm-hmm.
you know, wonderful landscaping. Get away from, even though you feel like you're in the city, you're not in the city, so to say.
Right,
I
right,
mean,
right.
Such great
We do have
trails
some
and
beautiful
parks. And you're able to go outside and just spend time outside.
Yeah. The overall, like, it almost not literally, but it almost feels like all the parks are connected.
Yeah.
You know what I
in a
mean?
sense,
And of course
yeah.
they're literally not, but it just feels that way when you have all the trails and
Yeah,
they
the
are
greenway.
working more to even get them more connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, very cool. Okay, then let me ask you this, because we asked about, you know, the super, super positive, but what are some maybe talking points of things that you want to make sure that Fort Wayne either is cognizant of or stays away from, or like, uh-oh, guys, if this happens, we could get on a path that would not be good for us as, you know, as a city? Is there anything that comes top of mind in that regard?
I got one if you don't.
Go ahead.
I mean, obviously we're part of the alphabet soup community, right?
I've never heard it said that.
So-
But that's very...
Or rainbow mafia. I mean, there are a lot of different terms.
So can I say that?
Yeah, sure.
You can. I
Could-
mean, people
I-
on TikTok do. So.
We have allies.
Um,
I've really never heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alphabet. Huh.
Alphabet soup. Yeah, we use
So-
it often to help identify.
I feel
Hey, are you part of the
like,
alphabet group?
I'm intrigued. Okay.
yeah.
Anyway, not to. Anyway, please.
Alphabet
Yeah.
soup is Meredith's favorite term.
Yeah, it is.
For our community.
It's just safe
but
words.
I feel like this could get a little touchy. I feel like with the amount of churches in this general area,
It's known as the city of churches. It
right.
just is.
right?
Yeah.
I feel like there is potential if we don't stay on it with basic human rights for everyone, that it could become a bigger issue. Especially with overturning Roe v. Wade. I mean, obviously that wasn't a Fort Wayne decision.
Right.
But
general,
just as a general society situation, I feel like if we are not paying attention to individual human rights, then that could potentially be a big can of worms down the road.
Right.
So that's something that we're super passionate about it. I mean, we have a rainbow tent, for crying out loud. We try to be active in that community separately, but also supporting different groups and things when there are events, just to kind of, not only on a personal level, on a business level, like, we are an LGBT women-owned business, so we make it a point to do what we can to support other LGBT and women-owned businesses. Not really more so than other local businesses, but just to kind of like build that sense of community of like minds, I guess.
Right. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So I'd say that's probably my important thing that we like to kind of stay on top of.
I think transportation is my thing. Like,
Okay.
if we don't figure out some type of bus system in the city that goes longer than what we have,
Yeah.
it's definitely going to be an
Yeah.
issue. Like,
It's kind of a small town bus
Yeah.
route, but we're more of a bigger town for that kind of thing. And it's like,
Yeah.
guys, why does the bus stop at this time on this street or whatever?
yeah. I don't get why it works that way, and I don't understand what routes go where and why they do what they do. So I really am trying to figure that out, because like there's such a community.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people whose answer are like, oh, well, there's Uber or there's Lyft or there's this or there's that. And I'm like, okay, but a lot of people don't feel safe, you know? Like, at least
And
with
it's
public transportation.
more expensive.
Yes.
Way
Way
more.
more expensive.
crazy.
You're going to Uber every day or take
Yeah.
the bus every day. The amount of money, it's crazy.
It's $25 from our house to her job. So one way.
Yeah,
like-
so $50 a day
Yeah.
times 5, where a bus pass
It's like
For-
$50 for a month.
right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
For unlimited
wild.
uses.
yes.
Yes.
Exactly. Point.
Yeah.
proven.
So,
I'm just trying to help figure out, like, as a community, how are we helping? Like, it's great that we give back, but like, how can we help give back even more?
Yeah.
And we're such a big community at the YLNI anyways. Like, we just really, to find a different outreach
Yeah.
to bring more people in.
No, that makes sense, and it's good to bring awareness to different things. I like that. Okay, so I have a question that I always ask, but usually with two people, I kind of phrase it like, okay, you can come up with one answer yourself and say, okay, this is our answer collectively, or if you want, you can each give an answer that is separate from each other, okay?
Okay.
So, and that question is, if the mayor came to you and said, I am putting a sign that is going to be so high in the sky that everyone in the 260 can see it, and it's going to be either one of those planes that like has the message, in the cloud that writes the message, or on a big old building, on a big old billboard, and it's going to be huge. The mayor has asked you to come up with what the sign is going to say. What is your message to basically I'd say maybe our county? It would be big enough for the entire county to see. Now, do you want to come together and have one message, or would you like to think through and have yours and you have your separate answer? What is your thought as you hear
We're
that question?
totally two different radical people.
Okay.
So I would
Yeah,
have to
but I-
say it. It would have
Completely
to
fair.
be.
I don't know. I feel like we're pretty similar on this one.
You got a vibe
we can
that
do
it's going to
separate
be.
ones. It's fine.
It's up to you.
Let's
I
do
wonder how
separate
close-
ones, and we'll see
We'll
what
see
it
how
comes
close.
up with.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So, do you want to go first?
I don't care.
Go for it.
Yep.
Mine would have to be love everyone.
literally took the same exact words out of my
See?
mouth. I knew it. I knew it.
This is what happens when you're married 8 years.
I was just gonna say, is that maybe the cutest thing like ever?
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
because that's
Yeah.
what you were gonna say.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so
I feel like love is the answer for pretty much
Everything.
everything that could potentially go wrong in the world. Like, you may not understand, but it's like, I mean,
We can
don't
agree to
want to, I
disagree.
don't want to bring too much religion into it, obviously. But I feel like it was, we're predominantly Christian here in Fort Wayne, so I feel like it is acceptable to say to love people like Jesus, right? But what people fail to realize is that Jesus wasn't sitting with the highs of society. Jesus was down in
the trenches.
yeah, like he was with the drug addicts and, you know,
The people who ripped people off, the tax
yeah.
collectors.
I feel
Yeah.
like the message is more to, regardless of your level of understanding, we need to just love people where they are. And it doesn't matter if you understand, it doesn't matter if you don't agree, it doesn't matter if you just don't get it. The message is to just love people where they are. And that's kind of been our motto from the beginning. I've always let people know, especially people that come see us pretty regularly, if there is a time that you're really going through it and you can't afford to pay me for said remedy, like, please come talk to me. There is always something you can do for me. There is always some sort of trade that we can work out. Like, never will I ever look at someone who is struggling with any kind of anything and be like, no, I'm sorry, I don't have the ability to help you.
Right, right.
So
That even sounds weird hearing you say it out loud.
Yeah,
Like, you would never say that. I
absolutely.
just know you well enough that.
yeah, no, like, we've had quite a few people that have supported us, like, from the get-go, from the beginning, very regularly, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, what have you. And we had one family that was going through a pretty rough patch. We've had a family that's lost the breadwinner of the family, lost the job. We've had a family that was completely torn apart and going through a very ugly divorce. And I'm like, listen, I am not in this to become a billionaire. I am in this because I have this knowledge, and that's why I'm here, is to be able to share it. Like, I'm totally fine if you want to come buy my stuff, right? Like, I have a business. That's kind of the point of a business.
To
Yeah.
sell the stuff.
But that's not my purpose. My purpose here is to share the knowledge that I have been given, because in less than 2 generations, we have lost it. We have lost what natural medicine is. We have lost what ancestral knowledge, you know, just even our grandparents, great-grandparents knew how to grow their own food, knew how to,
To look at the weeds in your yard and realize they're not weeds. They're actually
yeah,
Because you know.
Herbal.
Yeah.
yes. Like,
medicinals.
it's crazy because dandelions are supposedly the most noxious weed, right? Like, we don't want grass. We don't want weeds in our grass. But it's been Meredith's favorite thing lately to tell people that grass was, back in the day, a sign of
Oh, well.
stature and wealth if you had grass.
Yeah, if you had pristine grass, it meant that you had wealth. And then if you had weeds in your yard, you were of lower class. And that was part of the knowledge and the history of why grass became so popular.
Wow.
The greener
But what do
your
you
grass
use to get rid of the weeds in your grass?
Like the stuff that kills it and stuff.
Right,
Like
all the
round-
chemicals.
Like
Yeah,
Roundup?
Yeah.
But Roundup causes a lot of cancers that have to do, they're actually in quite a few class action lawsuits, that causes a lot of health concerns, endocrine disruptions, and different types of, like, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, different types of cancer. But the dandelions, if you take a whole dandelion plant, flower, leaves, roots, everything, and clean it off, stick it in a jar, and pour vodka over it, let it sit for 6 to 8 weeks. You have an herbal remedy that can help. I mean, obviously, if you have cancer already, it's probably not going to pull you out of that.
Right.
But can help with heart issues, can help with detoxing the body of those things that cause the cancer.
Wow.
Dandelion is one of the most potent medicinals in our arsenal, and we just spray stuff on it to kill it because we don't know any better, you know? So it's those little things that it's obviously it's a big job. So it's not just my job. It's a lot of people's job, that have felt the call to do this, I guess.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, yes, we have a business, but the end goal is to teach the community what to do with the knowledge that's been found by all of this craziness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so cool because when you have that kind of attitude, good things then happen that you can't even explain. And it's like, because you're doing things the right way.
I mean, I feel like we've kind of walked that out a lot. Like things just kind of fall the way they're supposed to.
Yeah.
But
I don't like the fact that we didn't actually get the building. I really do like that we've laid the foundation.
Yeah, that's
and the
true.
groundwork and the bricks to put it all together.
Everything definitely happens for a reason with that. Like, we are not in the location that we were with the other store, but now True Kimchi is there. They are serving up awesome food all the time, different little Korean snacks and fun stuff.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see them grow because they got to start at the same market, you know?
Right.
And now they've got their own
And
little
family.
shop.
And it's family. And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah.
And we got to go into a brick and mortar down in Huntington,
Did.
which we would have probably not looked at it that way. We probably would have blew it by and then not realized what we actually had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in March, a really good friend of ours was like, "Hey, I'm gonna open a holistic wellness center, and I want you guys to make our tea line. I want you to bring your whole line in. Want you to have a key to the store. I want you to be a big part of it, like be an anchor to the store."
Wow.
Yeah. So it's called Soul Weaver Alchemy. It's right down on the corner of Jefferson and Huntington, right next to Nick's Kitchen. Have you ever been there? It's amazing. We have Sky Dawn. She is our friend that does she's a intuitive wellness coach, I believe is her preferred official job title now. So she does everything from light therapy to Reiki healing to past life regressions to
Wild.
it is pretty wild. We've done some sound baths, which are like you come in and you bring like your little blanket or whatever and you lay there and you are just bathed in chimes and crystal singing bowls and flutes and all of the sound, and it is a completely different experience. But we also have an in-house massage therapist. She's we call her Tiny but Mighty because she's like 5'2", probably 120, soaking wet, and she kicks my butt every single time I go in there. So we've built kind of a sense of community there as well, where it's not just people coming in because they're looking for our stuff. They are getting like a whole mind, body, spirit approach, which is pretty cool.
You talk about community. So last thing is where people can find you on the social communities, Facebook page or...
Yeah, merkatmoon.com is our official website.
Yes.
You can order on there. We are also at the process. Some of our tinctures and salves and balms.
Right.
So we have Merkat Moon Herbals and Earthworks as our Facebook page. Okay. And then we have a Merkat Moon Inside the Apothecary as our VIP group. Okay. Where we actually get to, because it's not a public forum, it's actually a private group. We get to actually talk about some of the things that the herbs do and the different blends and why things are there and the plant allies.
Why it works.
Like how they actually work with the body. And then we also put little fun things like VIP only discount codes and special releases and things like that in there. We do have an Instagram page. We do have a TikTok page. I'm trying real hard with the social media,
I
but
get it.
I'm that like millennial that is like, social media is not my favorite thing.
No, that's a lot of stuff though. I get it.
Yeah.
And of course, you're then at the. Thank you for so much for being here and sharing that story.
Of course.
And of course, guys, you can catch them 9 to 1 Saturday at the YLNI Farmers Market. Couple weeks, we will be in the new building, wrapping up the summer. So thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
This podcast is brought to you by Coraggio Media. The show is edited by me and sponsored by the YLNI Farmers Market. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram for all the latest updates. We will see you next week, where we will be sure to show you how you can enjoy Fort Wayne.